a white man bouncing a brown baby on their lap and they don't know the context. That is harmful. That makes people cry. It makes people log out of our meetings. They don't come here. They don't come to our meetings, and they give me a hard time because I'm not vocal enough, and I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm trying to illustrate to you that you think you think I'm a social justice warrior.
The weapons of mass destruction, the missiles are on the Lord's band, they're pointed at every nation. Time gets shorter, crates of guns and ammo from country to country they go.
Good evening, everybody. Well, lots of stuff going on. I don't even know where to begin. Holy moly. It's a good time to start this podcast. There's so much going on. I can't even pick what stories to do next. It's getting tough. I know my last video, the sound was off and all that. You know, I'm trying new software and I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I'm just getting started, so give me a little bit of a break, will you? I'll get it figured out. But in case you didn't know who that was at the beginning, it was a Zoom meeting or something. And I don't know the full context because the video is kind of short, but I'll show you the whole video. But from what I gather, the gentleman had a friend over who was black, and he brought his nephew with him. And this guy was kind of playing with the kid while they were in their Zoom meeting, and he had him bouncing him on his knee. And this crazy chick goes out and goes off on him and calls him a racist and all sorts of stuff. And if you can see right in the back, he's got a black man in his house, and yet this girl's gonna accuse him of being a racist and everything. It's crazy. This is the reason, the biggest reason why I flew to the opposite side of the planet to find a girlfriend. I'd rather get on a plane and fly on a plane for 21 hours and be in a completely different country on the completely opposite side of the planet than to deal with people like this. This is why I don't date American women anymore. So here it is. Here's the clip.
When they see a white man bouncing a brown baby on their lap and they don't know the context, that is harmful. That makes people cry. It makes people log out of our meetings. They don't come here. They don't come to our meetings, and they give me a hard time because I'm not vocal enough, and I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm trying to illustrate to you that you think you think I'm a social justice warrior, and you think I'm being patronizing, and I'm getting pressure for not being enough of an advocate. And I take that to heart, and that hurts me, and I have to learn how to be a better white person.
I would like
You
to know
don't have
before
people
this meeting
telling you
adjourns-
that.
I would like to know before this meeting adjourns how having my friend's nephew on my lap was hurtful to people and was racist. Can you please explain?
Tom, I've explained it to you. You can Google, you can read a book. Read Ibram Kendi. Read White Fragility. Read How to Talk to White People. No, it's not my job to educate you. You're an educated white man,
You're right.
and you can read a book.
My friend is going to educate you.
So this girl is just screaming at this guy. And I don't know if that guy's wearing a mask, if he's got his mask around, or if it's an ascot. I mean, This is where we are. This is where we are. If you are one of those people, you're the problem. If you're one of those people like that girl, you're the problem. You are the problem. An educated white male. Well, I'll bet you, I don't know, but I'll bet you that the black guy that's in that man's house is also an educated black male. And they probably met, and have good conversations, and the man trusts the guy enough to hold his nephew and to play with his nephew. So this is just it's mental retardation. Mental retardation. That's what it is. And it's sickening, man. It's sickening. How this woman could be so... That woman is about as racist as you can get. And if you don't think so, you're an idiot. That woman was as racist as you can get. Anyway, we got a lot to go through today. There's so much stuff going on. Where do I start? Holy moly. Well, this Black Lives Matter thing is just getting out of hand. You want to see a world without cops? There you go. 6 weeks, 6 cities, 600 murders. The old 666. The single most important domestic issue of our time is not the rising number of new people tested with positive for COVID-19. Those deaths have had an all-time low, even though the news is going to tell you that there's a big spike in California, and there's a big spike in Florida, and there's a big spike in Omaha, and there's a big spike in Nebraska, and there's a big, anywhere that Donald Trump is going, all of a sudden there's big spikes of COVID-19. But the death rate is actually going down. So what's that telling everybody? Whew. They don't tell you the death rate, though. They don't tell you the death rate. But here's the death rate of murder in these Democrat cities. The single most important domestic issue of our time is not even the continued economic hardship of the nation that was artificially shut down and sent spiraling into a full recession. Nope. The single most important issue affecting some of the largest swaths of populations in America is the scandal of the media, and is the scandal that the media ignores, even as it explodes in our face. In only 6 weeks, city after city operated by entrenched Democrats have seen a massive expansion in lawlessness, violence, and murder. Stunningly, the many news outlets have seemed gobsmacked and mystified at how much or why such an explosion of lawlessness has occurred. Let's see. Let's just go through these real quick here. Los Angeles, June saw disturbing trends. An increase in the month's first week by 250% of homicides. 250%. And a 56% increase in shootings. Following the death of George Floyd in May, the LAPD received a $150 million cut. Chicago. Yeah, let's check out Chicago. Year to date, shootings have eclipsed 1,508 for 2020, putting them 350 ahead of 2019. I think that's for the whole year. That's for the whole year. We're only halfway through this year, and they've already surpassed the shootings in Chicago. To date, homicides sit at 254, placing them ahead of 2019. Important to note that Cook County Board voted in favor of defunding the police. 11 city aldermen raced to the fore and demanded that not a single penny of the $333 million in federal dollars go to the police. And various proposals are being considered to cut current funding by more than $30 million in current spending. Good luck. Good luck. Washington, D.C., 13% higher than this time last year. Philadelphia, shootings are up 67%. Victims of armed violence are up 29%. Homicides are up 25%. So, of course, it makes sense to defund the police by $19 million. Baltimore is consistently one of the most dangerous cities in America because, Cory Booker gives a shit. Cory Booker's the one that cares so much about black people. Jesus freaking Christ. With a 5-year streak of more than 300 murders, last year Baltimore set a new record at 348 homicides. Yet in 2020, they outpaced that last year's record, and we'll see defunding to the effect of $22 million. And I just read New York is just as bad too. I don't know why that's not on here. But I guess they were just talking about the top 6. All right, one of the ones that got me big time was this little 8-year-old girl down in Atlanta. She got shot and killed. You watch the video of that mother. Rip your heart out. Rip your goddamn heart out. Well, I got a video of the mayor. Now, I'm glad she's saying what she's saying. Because it's about time. It's about time, somebody said this. But, Mayor, you're to blame. You let this happen. You allowed these people to go as far as you did. The whole point of this is because there was a shooting in your neighborhood. There was a shooting in your city of a cop. This was all about Rayshard Brooks. I think that was his name. And he was drunk, and he passed out in a Wendy's drive-thru, not in the parking lot, not, somewhere else. He passed out in the drive-thru. So, of course, Wendy's employees called the cops because this guy was blocking the drive-thru. So the cops showed up. This guy got out. He was God. He was on probation, and he was drunk and driving. And so he got out, and instead of, he didn't want to go back to jail, so he figured he'd fight the cops and try to get away. He stole one of their tasers, and he turned around, and he shot the taser back at the officer. And the officer opened fired. Right, wrong, I don't know. Nobody can tell me what that situation is like until you're in it. Okay? But the guy died, so they burnt down that Wendy's. Smart. But they've been holding that place hostage. And they put that cop on. They charged the cop with something that could give him the death penalty later on. So these are the same people who killed this 8-year-old little girl. And it's all because of you, Mayor.
Shooting each other up on our streets in the city, and you shot and killed a baby. And it wasn't one shooter, there were at least 2 shooters. An 8-year-old baby. We are doing each other more harm than any police officer on this force. We've had over 75 shootings in this city over the past several weeks. You can't blame that on APD. It's a lot of change that has to happen across this country. And police reform is a big part of it. But we also got to reform our own communities. So if you are a part of a protest or a demonstration that looks like it's going the wrong way, that's your time to pull back, because you are no longer a part of the solution. You are a part of the problem.
Here saying enough is enough, right?
Absolutely, Sheba. Council member Joyce Shepard, who's over District 12, says that she also chairs the Public Safety Committee on that council. And she says that this is a very big problem, of course, in our city. But over the weekend, her heart was broken after this occurred. So right now, she says, as a result, she does have a major concern for Atlanta's police department stepping in. And here's what she had to say to us over the weekend.
I can't tolerate that. It's at a point now that when innocent people are driving by and get killed, it's just over. If we're talking about reforms, we got to talk about reforms, but we can't have folks taking over our streets and just doing what they want to do.
Now, she goes on to say that we need police at this point, but we need to make sure they are doing the right thing, making sure that police, when they confront our citizens, that they are trained properly. Now, police officers in Atlanta have said that they are feeling that administrations do not support them. So let's.
Now I want you to listen to this lady. She just spoke for that other girl, for that older black woman. Now, when what that black woman was saying, it didn't sound like she would say that. I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't know. I'm going on secondhand news now because this woman spoke for the other one instead of playing the clip. See, this is how the news does this shit. Because she had to throw in about the cops. She had to get the dig in on the cops. So instead of playing the clip of the older black lady who she was supposedly interviewing and letting her speak with her own words, no. She had to speak for her and throw that little dig in. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. This is the game. I'm pointing it out to you so you can see it.
Let's see what you all are saying since we are where Atlanta speaks. Eric Miner says, yeah, we need our police officers. We need them to be accountable and do their job by the book. Also, we have Betty Youngblood. She weighs in and says, you need to bring order before you are unable to bring order. And a massacre happened in our streets. Protesting is fine, but impeding others is a bit much. Now a child has been killed. And finally, Angelique Burns.
She didn't read it. She didn't even read the quote. She didn't even read the whole quote. I'll read the quote to you. It says, need to bring some order. And a massacre happened in our streets. Protesting is fine, but impeding others is a bit much. Now a child has been killed. So let's read the rest of what she said, because this lady didn't even finish the quote. She didn't read it the way it's supposed to be read. Need to set some boundaries for protesters. They will take the city over if you let them. My op-ed. So why isn't she reading the rest of the quote? She's reading everybody else's quotes. Why isn't she reading this lady's quotes? Maybe because it goes against the narrative. It goes against what they've been trying to set up. Maybe because it proves people like me right. The next one is about Frederick Douglass. And if you don't know who he is, then you need an education. You really do. Just quick synopsis. He was a slave. Went through the Underground Railroad, and he ended up in Rochester, New York. Did a big speech, and it was quite good. Anyways, they tore down a statue of Frederick Douglass. Now, I don't know who did it. Nobody knows who did it. But this has got to stop. This has got to stop. Because if it was you people on the left, you're freaking morons. If it was you people on the right, you're even more morons. Now, this one kind of hit close to home because I grew up in Rochester. Well, I grew up outside of Rochester in a little city, little town called Spencerport. But I did live in the city when I was older. And that was when Kodak was booming and Xerox was booming, and you had Bausch and Lomb and IBM, and you just had a bunch of middle class people that were living in the city, and it was good. I didn't have any problems with anybody, with too many people. And once Kodak went down and Xerox downsized, and those middle class jobs weren't in Rochester anymore, it turned right into a shit-lib city. Shit-lib city. That's why I moved out of there. With a bunch of shit-lib people. I'm talking in the inner city, not the outskirts. There's a lot of people out there that are still pretty good, but that city just started voting for all these Democrat mayors, and it's just turned right into just a hellhole. The city's nice enough, and it's got great museums, and it's a nice place, but it's just the politics in that place is just crazy. So now they're tearing down statues of Frederick Douglass. But yeah, it's just another shit lib city that's getting caught up in this stuff. Stupid. It's stupid. Anyways, I think that's it for me today. I've had enough fun for one day. So, subscribe. Give me a subscription. And, who knows? We'll see you later. Bye.